Ikaw muna. Okay, live na
Sige.
yan.
Good day, everyone. We are the reporter of Group 4. Our topic is all about the appointments of employees. This lecture deals on appointments of employees, particularly on the common requirements, the employment status, the nature of appointments, change of status, personnel movement, personal rules on movement, the provision, guidelines to protect employees, the eligibilities of employees, and the facilities on attendance work hours. So yours truly and Mom Josephine Arambalo, we're going to tackle this appointment of employees. So first we have the employment status. Okay. So first we will define what is appointment. So in our slide, Ma'am Jo,
Okay. Nakakaano yan?
the appointment. Okay. The definition of appointment, it is a fixed mutual agreement for a meeting or engagement. It is a meeting set for a specific time or place, or the act of appointing, designating, or placing in office, and of course to fill a vacancy by appointment. Okay, that those are the definition of appointment. Okay, appointments may either be through promotion, transfer, reinstatement, reemployments, or original on the basis of certification of appropriate civil service eligibility. So uh, we have this common requirements for regular appointments. Of course, number one is form, and then signature of the appointing authority, the position title, employment status, sign of date of signing, and personal data sheet. These are the common requirements for regular appointments. And then the next one is about the employment status in general. Uh, there's a permanent appointment, temporary appointment, substitute appointment, coterminous appointment, contractual appointment, and casual appointment. When we say permanent, uh, it is the it is issued to a temporary employee when he acquires the appropriate eligibility or becoming permanent employee or temporary. From the word itself, it is temporary because the the person when we say and then the next one is the substitute. Okay, when there's someone who is on leave, so there will be a substitute. So that's it. And then there's this contractual appointment, which is maybe contractual from 6 months to at least 1 year. And then the next slide will about the employment status in general. Okay, there's a permanent. We already tackled that. So next one is the employment status of teachers. So when a teacher is employed, these are the employment status of the teachers. First, the regular permanent, issued to a teacher who meets all the requirements of the position. And then there's a provisional, issued to a teacher who meets all the requirements of the position.
Space,
and the
nawala.
regular.
Sige, go. Go.
Okay, the substitute
Hmm.
from the start.
Hindi na lang. Continue ka lang.
Nawala na ako. Okay. So, ayun. And then the next is nature of appointment. Okay. The nature of appointment. It's either be original, which refer to the initial entry in the career and non-career service. And then the promotion, which is the advancement of the employee from one position to another with increase in duties and responsibilities and usually accompanied by an increase in salary. And then there's a transfer, which is the movement of an employee from one position to another, which is equivalent rank level or reinstatement and renewal. Okay, so here again, the change of status of employee from temporary to permanent, and then provision to regular, and then there's this demotion, and then upgrading or reclassification. Among this status of employee, among this change of status employee, the one I'd like to is the upgrading because you will be promoted. Right, Ma'am Jo?
Of
Yes.
course.
That's it for
Promoted.
my
Okay na po.
remaining topic. Okay. Your turn, Ma'am Jo.
Okay. Wait lang. So, good day, everyone. I'm the second reporter for this group, and my topic is all about the continuation of Ma'am Ella's topic. So, wait lang. Ay.
Asan ka na, Ma'am Jo?
Nandito, nagpo-browse ng screen share na ayaw gumana. Yung slides ko na ayaw gumana.
Nako.
Kakaloka. Ang gapula naman si ka.
Paano na yan, eh?
May slides dyan. Ano?
Walang slide na ano. Kahit kanina nagtutok ako, wala din. Kanina, wala din. Ay, mayroon sa'yo.
Oo. Wait lang. Di ba ito makikita natin mamaya. Okay. So, hirap pala pag dalawa camera. Nakikita mo na, Ma'am Ella?
Oo.
Nakikita mo na yung slides?
Nakikita ko sa down, pero mas ano yung face mo. Yung isa, yung walang ano speaker. Nakikita ko doon. Oh, yan, may,
Ito.
ano.
Ayan, nakikita mo na. Yung slides.
Kanina, oo. Ngayon, ano, black siya. Walang, ano, nakasulat.
Oo, black kasi ano yung PowerPoint. Ayan.
Ah, okay na.
Okay, so we are apologizing for technical error. So, pang take 2 na to. Okay, here is the continuation of appointment of employees. So, still we are in personnel movements. First, we have the reassignment, the movement of an employee from one organizational unit to another in the same department or agency, which does not involve a reduction in rank, status, or salary. Okay, example is teacher A is being assigned as science department head by the principal. Therefore, this will be through memorandum from the principal only and there will be no additional salary or ranking advancement. Next, bibilisan ko na po kasi 16 slides po ito. Detail, temporary
Okay.
movement of an employee from one department or agency to another office or agency and does not involve a reduction in rank, status, or salary. An example for that is, bakit wala pa lumalabas? Okay? Teacher A is on sick leave without pay due to accident. The principal will assign teacher B or the floating teacher to take the class until a substitute teacher from the division office arrives. Therefore, there will be no additional salary or advancement or reduction of ranking. So yung floating teacher is the teacher who does ancillary activities without advisory. And the substitute teacher, nasabi na rin ni Ma'am Ella kanina, a teacher appointed by the division office to take charge as a substitute teacher or the temporary teacher na pamalit doon sa nag-leave na teacher. Okay, next. We have the secondment. The movement of an employee from one department or agency to another which temporary in nature and which may or may not require the issuance of an appointment, which may either involve an increase in compensation and benefits. Acceptance thereof is voluntary on the part of the employee. Okay? Job rotation, the sequential or reciprocal movement of an employee from one office to another or from one division to another within the same agency as a means for developing and enhancing potentials of people in an organization by exposing them to other work functions of the agency. Pasensya na, hindi ako nakasalamin kasi. Designation is merely an imposition to be performed by a public official with corresponding title or position, which is temporary and can be determined anytime at the pleasure of the appointing authority. Okay, all of those personal movements are easy to understand naman. So, sa tingin ko, kuhang-kuha nyo naman kung ano yung tinutukoy. Next, here are the rules in personal movement. First, an appointment which issued in accordance with pertinent laws and rules shall take effect immediately upon its issuance by the appointing authority. And if the appointee has assumed the duties of the position, he shall be entitled to receive the salary at once without awaiting. Hello?
The approval.
Nawala ba yung screen?
No, okay lang.
Okay
Awaiting the approval of his appointment.
by the CSC or the Commission of Civil Service ba ito? The appointment shall remain effective until disapproved by the CSC. In no case shall an appointment take effect earlier than the date of its issuance. Okay, another rule is that no appointment shall be made effective earlier than the date of issuance except in the case of change of status for having acquired a civil service eligibility or in case of a teacher having acquired a valid certificate of registration and valid professional license. Okay? So the effect of that is when the change of status should be the date of release of the result of the examination and or the date of issuance of appropriate license or licenses. However, change of status of appointment from temporary to permanent because of completion of the required education training and experience shall be effective upon presentation of the proof thereto and its corresponding endorsement from the appointing authority. Another rule, the services rendered by any person who was required to assume the duties and responsibilities of any position without an appointment having been issued by the appointing authority shall not be credited and shall be the personal accountability of the official who made him assume office. No official or employee shall be required to assume duty without being furnished with a copy of his appointment after it is issued by the appointing authority. The appointee shall acknowledge receipt of the appointment by signing on the duplicate and other copies of said appointment. If the appointee does not assume office within 30 calendar days from the receipt of the approved appointment, the same may be cancelled by the appointing authority and reported to the Commission for record purposes. Renewal of temporary appointments require prior publication under Republic Act 7041 to avoid a gap in the services of the holder of temporary appointment where appointments are subject to the renewal. Publication should be made about 2 months prior to the expiration thereof. Okay? And these are the prohibitions on appointments. First, no appointed official shall hold any other office or employment in the government unless otherwise allowed by law or by the primary functions of his position. No elective official shall be eligible for appointment in any capacity to any public office or position during his tenure. No elective or appointed public officer or employee shall receive additional, double, or indirect compensation unless specifically authorized by law, nor accept without the consent of Congress any present emolument office of the title of any kind from any foreign government. A person who lost in an election, except barangay election, shall not be eligible for appointment or employment to any office of the government or government-owned or controlled corporation within 1 year or following such election. An employee who flies a certificate of candidacy, even if later on is disqualified or has withdrawn, is still considered resigned. An employee who has resigned from the government service during the 3-month period before any election to promote the candidacy of another shall not be reemployed during the 6-month period following such election. No detail or reassignment shall be made within 3 months before any election unless with the permission of COMELEC. No officer or employee in the civil service, including members of the armed forces, shall engage directly or indirectly in any partisan political activity or take part in any election except to vote, nor shall he use his official authority or influence to coerce the political activity of any other person or body. Okay? No appointment shall be made in favor of a relative of the appointing authority or recommending authority or of the date of bureau or office of the person exercising immediate supervision over the appointee. Exempted from these rules are persons employed in a confidential capacity, teachers, physicians. Okay, yan yung mga exempted sa rule na yun. No person who has been dismissed or perpetually excluded or disqualified from the government service shall be appointed or reemployed unless he has been granted executive clemency. No person who has reached the compulsory retirement age of 65 can be appointed to any position in the government. So, pag nag-retire na po, after 65 years, kapag 65 years old ka na, hindi ka na pwedeng tanggapin sa kahit anong posisyon sa gobyerno. No person appointed to a position in the non-career service shall perform duties properly belonging to any position in the career service. Marami po itong prohibition on appointments. Okay? No consultant, contractual, or non-career employee shall be designated to positions exercising control or supervision over regular and career personnel. The CSC may in meritorious cases extend the services of one who has reached the compulsory retirement age of 65 years for the period of 6 months. So after 65 years, kung ikaw ay 65 years old na at ikaw ay nag-retire na, pwede pa yung ma-extend ng 6 months to maximum of 1 year. And those who will complete the 15 years of service required under the GSIS law. Pero ang pagkakaalam ko po dito, pag naka 30 years in service ka na, whether na-reach mo na yung 65 years old, halimbawa, 45 years old ka pa lang, pero nakapagbigay ka na ng 30 years in service, pwede ka nang mag-early retirement. Kasi beyond 30 years in service ay hindi na po counted sa lahat ng benefits in GSIS or whatsoever benefits na matatanggap po upon retirement. Okay? Services rendered during the period of extension for those who shall complete the 15 years required under the GSIS law shall be credited a part of the government service. Otherwise, the same shall not be credited as government service for purposes of retirement. Officials and employees on service extension shall be entitled to salaries, allowances, and other remunerations that are normally considered part and parcel of an employee's compensation package. So lahat po ng natatanggap ng isang official or employee, basta po napayagan ka na na-extend ang iyong serbisyo publiko, ay makakatanggap ka rin ng lahat ng benefits na ngayon. Their entitlement to such salaries, allowance, and other remuneration shall be subject to existing regulations on the grant thereof.